Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
The Indians are celebrating the 1995 World Series team all weekend as they host the Tampa Bay Rays. We will relive those magical moments, from the walk-offs to the wow moments to the first division title in team history. We'll relive those moments and visit with key members of the 1995 World Series team. Carlos Carrasco will set the tone in what promises to be a well-pitched series next on Sports Time Ohio. From Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, we turn the clock back 2 decades as we celebrate the 1995 American League champion Cleveland Indians all weekend long. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. It was a tremendous team. It was a team that took the league by storm, took all of baseball by storm. 100 wins in just 144 games in that strike-shortened season, and it's still hard to believe they didn't win the whole thing.
Well, you're absolutely right. But, it's hard to believe that it was 20 years ago. We're going to have time to sit back this weekend and reflect back at some of the great memories that we witnessed as fans and kids growing up. I mean, it was 41 years prior to winning that championship right there, and it was fun to watch. And the city of Cleveland, the Northeast Ohio, and everybody, Indians fans across the country, able to celebrate. That was a 3-0 home run that got them to where they were going, the promised land.
I think everybody that's an Indians fan will always remember where they were when Tony Pena hit that home run to beat Boston in the first playoff game here in Progressive Field history. Indians will take on the Tampa Bay Rays this weekend, and Carlos Carrasco will get the ball for the Tribe, and he's won 4 of his last 5 starts.
Well, Carlos has been pitching very well. It seems like he's maturing, this year. Every time he goes out and starts, he wants to go deeper into ball games. He has the stuff to do it if he can control it and not have a big inning. He struggled a little bit at home. He's at 500-3-3, but 8 wins on the road, and as you said, he's won 4 out of his last 5 starts, so they're looking for him to get off to a good start for this weekend series. He'll be matched up against Nathan Carnes. You can see 3-3 this year. You don't know much about this Tampa ball club, but we do know one thing. They're in first place in the East.
Indians all-time 45-21 against Tampa right here in Cleveland. When we come back, Andre Knott joins us to tell us about the reunion between Terry Francona and former Indians bullpen coach Kevin Cash, now the skipper of the Tampa Bay Rays. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud sponsors of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. rung him up. Another calm third. Boy, the K train continues. Throw to the plate, save! Oh, baby! And the Indians win it. 4-3 is the final. Well, back here at Progressive Field, Indians and the Tampa Bay Rays getting ready to open up this weekend series. Let's go down to the field where Andre Knott is standing by. Kevin Cash was Terry Francona's bullpen coach for a couple of years. Now he's got his own gig.
He's got his own gig, Matt, and tell it the way they see it. It's like a big brother, little brother thing going on. Matter of fact, right now the scorecards are being exchanged, and I asked Kevin Cash, would he go out there? He says, no, I'm sending Derek Shelton out there because, well, we've won the last 2 games. He goes, then why the heck would I go out there anyway? Tito can't make it. It hurt his knees. A lot of messing around with each other back and forth. There's a ton of respect. The one thing Kevin Cash said he learned from being around Terry Francona, whether it was in Boston at the end of his career as a catcher, as a player, or coaching underneath him, is the respect that you get from each and every player by treating them the right way. The other thing about them is they're going to mess with each other throughout the night. During our press conference with Kevin Cash, his phone rang about 5 different times. Every time Kevin went to answer it, the person on the other end hung up. You guys want to guess who was calling that whole time?
Yeah. Oh, boy, that is beautiful. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, the Indians and Rays getting ready here as you see Evan Longoria in the Tampa dugout. Terry Francona going over the lineup with Brad Mills in the Tribe dugout. '95 reunion this weekend. Mike Hargrove, number of former players from that '95 team on hand for the weekend, including Alvaro Espinoza, Herbert Perry, Julian Tavares. They came from all different corners of the ballpark. Eric Plunk, Sandy Alomar, Paul Ossenmacher,
The wily old veteran left-hander.
Chad O.J., Kenny Lofton, Dennis Martinez, Jim Thome, Sandy Alomar, Chuck Nagy. Good to see those guys. And a well-deserved recognition weekend for that team that gave this organization, the fans, the region, a summer that they will never forget.
Yeah, here you go. El Presidente going to throw out the first pitch to Sandy Alomar, and it was a strike, as always. Well done.
We're going to visit with Dennis Martinez tonight, as well as Kenny Lofton.
Yeah, you can't have everybody up here. We'll have those two tonight. Get a chance to reminisce a little bit.
Over the last 3 years, the Indians and Tampa Bay Rays have split 20 games. A very evenly matched series for a series that was dominated by the Indians from the Rays' inception until about 10 years ago, or about 5 or 6 years ago. Kevin Cash, the skipper of Tampa Bay, in his first year, he's got the Rays in first place. They are 38-30. They lead the Yankees by a game in the East. And the starting lineup for Cash and the Rays brought to you by Toyota. Kevin Kiermaier leads it off. Then it's Joey Butler, followed by Evan Longoria. David DeJesus, Logan Forsythe, and Steven Souza in the middle. As Dribble Cabrera, the former Indian switch hitter, bats 7th. Jake Elmore 8th, and Rene Rivera, the catcher, hitting 9th.
Tonight's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher, Carlos Carrasco, coming off a win against the Detroit Tigers, where he went 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. He walked 1, struck out 8, and Carlos has been getting better. He has a decision in every start. He's making his 14th start, so he has 13 decisions, and he has been out there for some length that Terry Francona would love to see again. That bullpen was very good last night for the Indians, so I'll see if he can give him another good 7 innings. Let's check out the defense behind him this evening. It's brought to you by Chrysler. The defense looks like this. Brantley in left, Bourne in center, Moss is in right, URSHELA at third, LINDOR at short, Kipnis second, Santana first, Perez doing the catching.
Tim Welke, the veteran crew chief, will call the balls and strikes. Mike Everett, Toby Bassner, and Tim Timmons are on the bases. Our window systems, game time temperature tonight, 68 degrees, just a light breeze. Very light, in fact, blowing in from right to left. We are ready to go as Kevin Kiermaier stands in for Tampa. Grounds the first pitch up the middle. Diving stop by Kipnis. Gets up and throws him out. A sensational play right out of the gate by second baseman Jason Kipnis.
Boy, they say you better be ready from the first pitch on, and Jason Kipnis certainly was. He robs a base hit away from Kiermaier. Ball going, ranging to his right, smothers it, gets up, makes a good throw, out number one.
It's going to bring up Joey Butler.
One pitch, and he already has a dirty uniform.
What else is new?
I know it.
Joey Butler. What a story he's been for Tampa Bay. He's batting .331 with 5 homers and 18 runs batted in. He was signed as a free agent in the offseason after spending 14 games in the big leagues over the last 2 seasons. That's right, 14. 8 games with Texas 2 years ago, 6 games with the Cardinals last year. Spent time in Japan last season as well. So Tampa said, oh, what the heck. Let's give him a non-roster invitation to spring training and see what we find. Well, they found themselves a pretty good hitter.
Tell me if he doesn't remind you of a Tony Batista. You remember him? Used to be with Baltimore, and he smokes it into right center.
See you later. Home run for Joey Butler right out of the gate. Opposite field. He uses the middle of the field to right center, and he does it with authority with his 6th home run of the year.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that thing got out of here in a hurry. Line drive, that's number 6. Just watch the swing. That's a fastball that stayed middle of the plate. He might have tried to run it inside on him. Didn't look like Perez wanted it in. It leaked over the plate, and he shot it out of here in a hurry.
Butler just hasn't played enough to qualify for the batting chase. This is only his 40th game played, but man. Pitch in tight to Evan Longoria. Man, Longoria kind of leaning out of the way, takes a strike. That's hit in the air to center field. Bourne over toward right center. Yeah, right center field, and he's back just in front of the track to grab it. 2 down. Keys to the game are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Runs at a premium. Tampa, you know, hey, that's a very good pitching staff. They play a lot of low-scoring games, so every run is important. And let's see if the Indians can tighten up the D behind Carrasco.
Yeah, Tampa's always been a team that they don't seem to give up many. And again, they're starters, although they're starters, you're probably unheard of because most of them are on the disabled list, but they're second in the league in ERA when it comes to starting rotation, but the second fewest innings pitched in the league. Trailing only Kansas City. Starters have pitched 349 innings. Tampa's 378.
David DeJesus is swinging a miss in the count even. 1 ball, 1 strike. No doubt David DeJesus is not your prototype cleanup hitter. We've seen him hit leadoff before in his career with Kansas City. We've seen him bat in a number 2 spot. Seen him hit down on the order. I can't say I've ever
not number 4.
Pictured him as a cleanup guy.
Yeah, that's true. He's not per se, but maybe in this lineup he is right now because he's a veteran. He's been around. and maybe he can handle that spot a lot better than any of the young kids that they have.
I mean, sure, from Kevin Cash's perspective, you want Longoria batting third, so you guarantee him an at-bat in the first inning every game.
Right. And you have to have somebody protect him at least a little bit.
Pulls it foul.
You know, for Carrasco, you look at him, he just gave up his 7th home run. 4 of them he's given up in the first inning. So you're thinking maybe a pitch that he's just challenging a hitter, because Carlos has been throwing a lot of strikes. 85 strikeouts, 18 walks this year.
The 1-2 pitch. Hit fouled on the right side. David DeJesus is batting .305 with those 5 homers and 21 runs batted in. The 1-2 offering is out of play to the left. Seems like the same David DeJesus, doesn't he? He spoils a lot of pitches.
He makes you work to get him out.
Maybe that's another reason why Cash put him in the 4 spot, because he knows it's not going to change who he is. He's still going to be the same hitter.
Yeah, he's not going to try to hit for power. Just because you're in the number 4 hole, you're going to just try and put up a quality at bat, which he does.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat for DeJesus. Weekly tap towards second. Kipnis has to hurry. From the glove, he flips it to first. And the side is retired. But Joey Butler rings the bell. Ding dong. And Tampa Bay grabs a 1-0 lead as the Indians are coming to bat. Tampa on top. Indians coming to bat. Here's the Tribe starting lineup, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Jason Kipnis in the leadoff spot, batting .394 since May the 1st, number 1 in all of baseball. Francisco Lindor bats second. Brantley is third. Santana, Murphy, and Moss in the middle. Giovanni Urshela 7th. Michael Bourne 8th. And Roberto Perez batting 9th.
And tonight's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher is going to be Nathan Carnes. He will be making his 14th start. 9 starts, he's given up 2 runs or less. 4 starts, he's given up 2 hits or less. So he's been very good for him. In his last start against the White Sox, 6 innings, 7 hits. Gave up 1 run. He was trailing Chris Sale in that ball game, but they ended up winning 2-1. He had a no decision in that game, though. Never faced the Indians.
Jason Kipnis looks at ball one down low.
Only 61 hits allowed in 73 and 2/3 innings, but he has walked 30.
We showed you Kipnis' best batting average in baseball since May 1st. Overall, he's third in the American League. He hit that .335 mark. Only Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera have a better batting average at this point. He's second overall in hits. And he is fourth in runs scored, fourth in multiple hit games, third in doubles. Kia in the driver's seat, and he should be driving a seat to the All-Star game. As he drives this one down the left field line, it's a fair ball into the corner. Kipnis headed for second, and he'll go in standing with a leadoff double.
So just add to those numbers now. 23-game home hitting streak. And I'll tell you, this one looked like it might have kicked up a little chalk, slicing it down the line. It comes down, it tried to get foul, and boom, right on the chalk into the corner. So for Kipnis, his 20th double. So a good start for the Indians.
Francisco Lindor pulls the bat back as the pitch was up and away. Longoria looking for a bunt at third. Elmore pinches in at first. Lindor squares, gets the bunt down. Pitcher will have to go to first. Then he drops the ball, and everybody's safe. Lindor's speed may have caused a little uncertainty on Nate Karn's part. He got off the hill, looked like he fielded it, but then he peeked. He tried to see where Lindor was at and lost the grip on the ball.
You know, there was a little indecision there if he was going to get it or was it going to be Longoria. Longoria let him have it. It was closer to the pitcher. So by the time he gets it, he wanted to turn and make a throw. As he peeks at it, the transfer just doesn't come out. He misses his hand. Lindor will beat it out. I'm sure they'll give him a base hit. So he does his job, gets Kipnis to third, but also gets the bonus with a base hit. So now they have first and third and nobody out. That's putting the pressure on the defense, and a rookie pitcher maybe tried to do something a little too quickly.
Indians down a run, trying to come right back here. Bottom of the first, Michael Brantley. Brantley takes a strike. Brantley with a hit in 14 of his last 15 games. Last night he had an RBI double in the first. The Indians were able to play from in front last night right out of the gate. He can at least tie it with a sac fly or a ground ball, base hit. That's going to slice out of play. And it's 0-2. Michael at home this year. In 100 at-bats, has 31 hits. Good for a cool .310 average. Nathan Karns, the right-hander, in a first-inning jam. Brantley, a late swing, fights it off. Karns came to the Tampa Bay Rays in the deal that netted Washington Jose Lobaton, the former Rays catcher. 0-2. Brantley with a liner. It's caught, but alertly back to first is LINDOR to avoid a double play.
That's excellent base running right there. That's so easy to get doubled off there. Although with Elmore in front of him, LINDOR just held his ground and broke back. Watch, he's leading off. And see, he froze. That's great base running. That's an easy double play a lot of times. Instead, it's just one out because of the good base running. Just stopped, went right back to the bag on the line. That's a lot of stuff. You can't teach that. That's instinct. Brantley hit it on the nose.
Now here's Carlos Santana. Rays shift 3 on the right side. They leave Longoria over near third base. And it gets away. That'll enable the tying run to score as Kipnis comes home. LINDOR down to second base.
Well, they had a wild pitch and a pass ball set up innings for him last night. He tried to backhand that ball instead of getting that chest protector in front of it with a man on third. And it skipped down on him, hit him in the shoe or the pad, and it kicks back. So Kipnis comes in to score. LINDOR goes to second on the wild pitch.
And the Indians tie the game as Santana will try to give him the lead with a base hit here. 2-0. Longoria was able to get off the bag quite a bit with Kipnis over there at third base. But now with LINDOR at second, he's got to play a little closer to third in case LINDOR takes off. Santana pops it foul, out of play. 2-1.
Well, this is a guy pitching now. He has 7 wild pitches, which leads their staff. But we talked about it before the game. He throws that curveball 26% of the time, so you always have to be aware it's going to be in the dirt like that when you're on the bases. So I'm sure both Sarbaugh and Sandy Alomar know. Heads up for balls in the dirt.
The 3-1 pitch. Santana slugs it to center right at Kiermaier, who makes the catch, and LINDOR has to hold. 2 down.
Let's check out that Rays defense. Brought to you by Chrysler. They are rated number 1 in the league, have made only 31 errors. DeJesus is in left, Kiermaier center. Souza is in right. Longoria at third, Cabrera at short, Forsythe at second, Elmore at first, Rivera behind the plate.
David Murphy will bat with 2 down and a runner at first. Murphy batting .348 at home this year. And he lines one, foul by inches.
Wow, that went over Elmore's glove in fair territory. And he hooked it. It ended up going foul. Had himself probably a double, but that was a fair ball when the first baseman jumped for it.
Yeah, I think if that ticks off his glove, it's a fair ball.
That was close, too.
Murphy swinging a very hot bat against right-handed pitching this year. Boy, he had another pitch to hammer.
Well, the only 2 outs in this inning, Brantley lined out to first base. Santana hit his ball on the nose. So far, so good as far as the swings going off Carnes early in this game.
And now Karn steps away. Rivera will go through the signs yet again. Francisco Lindor, the runner at second base with 2 down here in the first. The 0-2 in the dirt, gets away again, and down to third goes Lindor. Second wild pitch of the inning.
Well, he's like a hockey goalie back there. He's blocking everything in sight, or at least trying to. That's a curveball. So 1 out of every 4 pitches is going to be that hook, so you have to be aware of it as a base runner. And I would think that's a good time to run, too, against a guy like this that throws that pitch a lot. Tough for a catcher to handle.
He'd be less likely maybe to call it here with Lindor at third now. 1-2 pitch. He did throw it again, and it's fouled.
He made sure it was for a strike, though. It wasn't going to bounce it and try and get him to chase it on a 1-2 count. Yeah, that's up to the pitcher there. But as a catcher, when you call it, you have to anticipate it's going to be in the dirt. And he was getting all the way down to smother. You see where he was going to smother? He should have done that when Kipnis was on third base, but he tried to backhand it.
Fooled him with a fastball, and the inning is over. Tribe ties it on a wild pitch, 1-1 after an inning.
Live Indians baseball season long with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. You can stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Logan Forsythe leads off the second for Tampa. Takes a strike. Checked his swing.
Excuse me.
Kipnis has to go a long way to get it. Spins, throws, not in time. And Forsythe will have an infield single on a excuse me swing, but they were shading him up the middle, so it was the perfect spot to put it.
You know, he wanted to check his swing, and you couldn't have rolled it out there any better. He runs well enough by the time Kipnis could get there, spin, and throw. He's going to beat it out for an infield single. So that's your day. You start off your first at-bat like that.
And now Steven Souza to the plate. And a strike is called. Souza came to the Rays from the Nationals in the offseason trade. It was a 3-team deal, but Will Myers was part of that. Myers ended up in San Diego. RENE Rivera ended up here, coming from San Diego. And of course, Will Myers ended up out with the Padres.
Well, this rookie's having a nice year. 13 homers, 30 RBI. His batting average down a little bit, but run production is up.
At 6'4", 2 1/4, he's a pretty good-sized kid, too.
See a slider down and away. He went to the same high school Grady Sizemore did up in Washington.
Yeah, from up there at Everett. Off the glove of Carrasco. Backhanded by Kipnis. Steps on the bag and throws to first for a double play.
Oh, yeah. Well done by Kipnis. After the deflection, it's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. You know, this is a lot like the double play last night Castro had, except he scooped it the other way coming from short. It was a backhand by Kipnis tonight. And that's a do-or-die play. It stays in his glove. He just steps on the bag and flips it over there. Made it look easy. Not as easy as it looked. So that goes 1-4-3 on the double play.
Major League Baseball evidently has wiped out more than 60 million votes for the All-Star game amid fear of improper voting techniques.
Did they all come from Kansas City?
Well, you have to wonder if that isn't part of it. Bob Bowman explained that it's between 60 and 65 million votes had to be canceled. I mean, Omar Infante, he's a nice player, but was Dribble Cabrera sending one deep to right field, and that's out of here. Cabrera with his 4th home run of the year. Comes back against his old club and homers in his first at bat to put Tampa right back in front 2-1.
Now slider from Carrasco to Cabrera, and he got the barrel of the bat head out front. Check it out on our Nissan pitch tracker. It's, I mean, right there, a flat slider that just stayed. 87 miles per hour. Speeds up his bat, and he hits it out of here. So a pair of solo home runs for Tampa so far in the first 2 innings.
Here's Jake Elmore as he takes a strike. Point being, Omar Infante is a nice player, but I mean, he's not having anywhere near an all-star type season. So you hope that whether it's by vote, whether it's by selection after the fact, that Jason Kipnis will earn a nod with the season he's put up to this point.
Well, everybody has to have a representative in the All-Star game. And if Kansas City gets all those starters, everybody's got to make it somewhere.
Little tapper foul. Elmore, another guy who came to camp as a invitee. In other words, he was not on the roster. He had been with Arizona, he had been with Houston, he had been with Cincinnati, but over the last 3 seasons, a total of just 87 games in the big leagues, including 5 all of last year with Cincinnati. But here again, Tampa Bay gives them an invite. They like what they see.
Yeah, this is a team other than, when you look at the lineup, you say, okay, I know Evan Longoria, and I don't know anybody else for the most part. We know Cabrera. He played here for a number of years, but.
And David DeJesus has been
right,
around.
We've seen him. But everybody else, it's like, who is he? Who?
And yet they're a first-place club in the American League East.
Well, they've done a beautiful job this year on the road. They're 19-11, Tampa is, and they pitch much better on the road than they have at home. And they're 19-19, at home.
Francisco Lindor will throw out Elmore to end the inning. But Asdrubal Cabrera comes back home to Cleveland and puts Tampa in front 2-1.
Well, you want to head down to Progressive Field tomorrow night and celebrate the 20th anniversary of the '95 World Series team. 12,000 fans get a design T-shirt, courtesy of Pepsi. Also a post-game fireworks show. And you can get your tickets at Indians.com. Celebrating the '95 season. We'll have Kenny Lofton joining us next half inning.
Brandon Moss to lead off the bottom of the second with a drive down a run. Takes ball one. Good curveball, drops in for a strike.
Well, just from what we've seen in the first inning, it looks like he throws it more than 26% of the time.
And that's going to get out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That ball's hit hard right on the screws at Kiermaier. 1 away. Here's our great clip of the game from last night. Giovanni Urshela providing the margin of victory for the Indians with that tie-breaking RBI single in the left field.
Yeah, picked on a breaking ball. Nice hitting.
8 days ago, picked up his first hit in the major leagues. And it's low ball 1. Checked his swing, and it's a foul. In today's game, we are participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every Indians home run in the game raises $12,500 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Good pitch, well-located fastball away. And the off-speed pitch is fouled off to the right and keeps him alive. Swung out and missed. Second strikeout for Nathan Carnes, and there are 2 down here in the second inning. Here's our Levin Furniture player profile on Nathan Carnes. This is a Tampa Bay team that, they're in first place despite the fact that they've been missing a lot of their key guys in terms of, it's a team built on pitching.
Right.
Alex Cobb, remember him, started the playoff game, hasn't pitched. Matt Moore, left-hander, solid, hasn't pitched. So they're doing what they're doing without 2 guys that they were really counting on.
Well, and plus they've used a boatload of rookies this year.
Drew Smiley's on the DL, I believe, and he's
right.
Another guy that they were
that's right.
counting on. There's a comebacker, and the Indians go quickly here in the second. After 2, it's Tampa 2, Cleveland 1. To the third inning. RENE, Rivera, Kevin Kiermaier, Joey Butler due up for Tampa. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you as always, and joined now by Mike Hargrove, the skipper of the 1995 Indians Ball Club, that having a big reunion this weekend.
Long time ago, wasn't it?
Think about it.
Quickly.
Can you believe it was 20 years ago?
No,
when you think about it.
It's just we're old now.
Well, I know, but I think back, in the ballpark had just opened, a year before that, 94, and everything was going on. It just seems like so long ago.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not that long ago.
No, it's not. It seems like it was just yesterday, and it's it's good memories.
Well, there's so many wonderful memories, I think, for not only you guys, but for everybody that experienced it, from the fans to those of us who covered the team, because we walked in here in 1994 and said, wait, this is the Indians ballpark? This is where we come to work now every day?
Yeah, it was a gorgeous place then, and it is now. I mean, it's you look out there and think this thing's 21 years old, and you think, nah, that's, it's a brand new facility, but it's nice. It's nice, and it added a lot to, I think, what we were able to accomplish.
Well, you had a true home field advantage, and Rick and I sit up here a lot and talk about the Indian struggles this year, trying to win at home. That was never a problem for those mid-'90s teams, was it?
No, it really wasn't. I mean, I think obviously our offensive lineup was intimidating to begin with, but teams coming here and facing us in this ballpark, I really think it was especially intimidating to them, because they knew that the lineup we had 1 through 9 could hit the ball out down the left field line, the right field line, center field. It just didn't make. And they looked at it and said, where do we pitch these guys?
Well, and even though they knew it, it seemed like in 1994 when you guys were like, I think, a game or so behind Chicago, you were ready to make a charge, and then the strike came. There was no World Series, and then the 95 was delayed. But when it was all settled, this team was ready to go before I think any other team, because guys were signed and everybody knew what was going on, and they knew what to expect.
Yeah, Archie, I think you're absolutely right. We played the last 2 weeks of the season in '94, knowing the strike was coming, trying to get ahead, catch them and surpass the White Sox. We played that like it was postseason, in our use of pitchers and things like that, and
nice play by Michael Bourne. Got to the middle of the warning track. And LINDOR trying for a double play here, but can't quite get Rivera, who gets back just in time.
But I think that the energy we had going into that, because we were catching, we went from, I want to say 6 or 7 back to a game and a half back when the strike came. I think that the energy of that and the fact that we were successful, we just ran out of games.
Right.
That it really carried over into the off season and the strike shortened spring training, to where our guys showed up and they were on point from day one.
Yeah, because free agents were down in our old spring training site that we never made it to, right, that year.
Yeah.
Guys that weren't signed before the season even started.
Right,
they had to get signed before they even broke with
Homestead.
Homestead.
That's right, yeah.
That year. And our team was set. It seemed like everybody was signed for a couple of years. They had young players, and everybody was set, and they just came on and took off from day one.
We're visiting with Mike Hargrove. So 94, you had a heck of a season. The strike obviously ends the year prematurely. So you knew going into 95, the players, you knew you had a good team. But when, Mike, did you know in 95 that you had a great team?
I don't know. I can point to probably 2 different instances, and I can't tell you where they were in the season. The home run off of Eckersley by Manny Ramirez,
right?
And got the reaction from proven winners that, hey, these guys are good. That was a big boost to our ball club. And then the 8-0 game with Cone on the mound with Toronto, when we came back and beat them.
Serrano hit the game winner.
Hit 10-8 in the 8th or 9th inning. It's just that wasn't done against David Cone at that time, because he was, if not the best, almost the best pitcher in the game.
There's your wow moment. There's your first one you're talking about. Off Eckersley, they come in here, Oakland. Good ball club, and it was nothing for him. There it was.
That's pure egg, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was. It was pure egg. But, I mean, how many of those celebrations did you see at home plate? I mean, the walk-off wins, and it was something so special. I would leave the ballpark at night and say, this isn't real, because this doesn't happen in the big leagues normally.
You're right. They talk about Jeter. Early in his career, he won, 3 or 4 World Series.
Right.
And how that spoiled him, because that's not supposed to happen. The same thing with our ball club in 95. The fact that we came back, 27 times in the season, that just doesn't happen.
Right.
And it did that year, and it looked like it was supposed to happen.
To third, Urshela goes to second, one on to first. Nicely picked by Santana for an inning-ending double play. We'll continue with Indians manager, the skipper of the 95 tribe, Mike Hargrove, when we return here to Progressive Field. Enjoy a cold one. Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We're reminiscing with former Indian skipper Mike Hargrove about the 1995 team. It's a 20-year reunion for that ball club here at Progressive Field. And, you know, we were talking during the commercial break. You said all those home plate celebrations that are now commonplace in every ballpark for every team. Your club started that trend.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. It always amazed me. I think most of our players would probably have been 2 to 3 inches taller by the end of their career, except they get their heads beat down between their shoulders.
You know, it's funny because they do it differently now, but the Indians' way, they'd come in and they'd start smoking these guys. They'd take their helmet off and they'd end up beating them. Now they're throwing drinks on them. They're doing so many goofy things right now. But
one Gatorade on me and that'd be the end. End of somebody. Yeah, that's right. They pound on somebody.
You weren't allowed to do that when we played, so I couldn't wash the uniforms. You wouldn't get the Gatorade color out.
That's right. Didn't have enough laundry.
Mike, in what other ways do you think that 95 Indians team may have changed baseball in terms of how other teams looked at you and said, we need to tweak our team to compete with them?
Well, I think anytime you got people out in front of you, you're doing what you can to catch them. I don't know that people model their team after us because, we were so strong offensively. You look around and nationally, you'll hear these national people. They'll talk about the powerhouse teams in the history of baseball, and they'll talk about the 27 Yankees in this team and that. You very rarely hear them say anything about the 95 Indians.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you what, if you go and I may be wrong on this, I don't think that I am. If you go check the statistics, the offensive statistics of the 27 Yankees, I will bet you $1 to a donut that our stats are real comparable, if not better. So, them trying to copy the team after us is kind of fruitless because that kind of team comes along once every however many years.
Yeah.
But what they did do is that John Hart and Danny O'Dowd and Mark Shapiro. They started signing our young guys to long-term contracts,
right,
to get them past their arbitration year and free agent years. You end up paying more early, but you end up paying less later.
But you make a commitment to them, and they make a commitment to you.
Exactly, and a lot of clubs tried to copy that.
But when you're in the middle of it and you're writing out the lineup every day and trying to figure out who's healthy and who's happy and who's not happy and what do I have to do with this situation, you don't get to maybe step back and look at it with that different perspective. Now that you've had time, how great was that ball club, and did you ever really get a chance to appreciate it when you were in the middle of it?
No, I did. I probably didn't. Not to the extent that I can now and have now. I've got 2 working lineup cards at home that I had framed. The cards that go on the side of the dugout, and I've got the games played. Like the 10th and the 11th. Back-to-back games. I've got Ramirez hitting 8 and Tomey hitting 9 in one, and Tomey hitting 8 and Ramirez hitting 9 in the other. So of course that was young. Early in their careers, we were trying to get them to settle in. Trying to kind of keep the pressure off of them. But that was the kind of club that we were able to do that. And a lot of people don't have that luxury. They've got guys with the talent like Ramirez and Tomey, even as young players. It's throw them into the middle lineup and it's sink or swim time. And a lot of times you see those guys end up back in the minor leagues about a month later because they haven't been able to cut it.
I think the toughest thing, or the greatest thing I should say back then, and you played here in Cleveland and you understand because you had to go through it, is that the Indians never won. It was always about the 50s. It was about the 48 and the 50 Indians. And it was 1995 they finally broke through after 41 years. And it's almost like it relieved so much pressure, and it took so much pressure off the city. Everyone was enjoying it. I don't care. Fans from generations after generations.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you a quick story if we got time.
Sure.
We do.
I had a guy back in 92 or 93. We used to do those winter caravans. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
And I forget where we were, somewhat set down around Columbus. And this guy came up to me after the game, and he was probably in his late 30s, early 40s. And he said, he said, Mike, I just want to tell you, I've been an Indians fan since I was 7 years old. And how I became an Indians fan is in 1954, my dad took me to watch the 54 Indians play. And he said it was a really neat experience because that was something my dad and I had for the day he died. And he said, I've got a son, and I want to be able to do that with him too. And he said the kid was like 5 or 6 at the time. 3 years later, Jimmy told me caught that foul ball.
Right.
And the first thought that I had
was that guy.
I hope that guy's here with his little boy. And that's kind of the
something he'll never forget.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not a made-up story. That
no, I know
there.
it's not, because back living it then, it was unbelievable. If you spent any time, and you grew up in the area as a fan of the Indians, so Matt, we played here and we heard it, and you got sick of hearing the 50s. You wanted to win. We never did, but when it finally came, it was unbelievable.
It was worth the wait.
And it's unforgettable.
Yeah, we weren't very good then, were we?
No, we weren't, but it wasn't our fault. We didn't know we weren't.
That's right. We thought we were.
But you're right. You're right. For that generation of fans that are my age, a little bit older, a little bit younger, the playoffs were something that happened in other cities.
They never saw the playoffs.
That wasn't something that happened here. So from 95 to 96 to 97 and on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's not that we became spoiled, but it became, we're in the playoffs again. And it was kind of fun.
You expected it.
Exactly. It was kind of fun to be, we're going to the playoffs again.
How about the postseason when you come out for the first game and you walk out on the field, you get in the stands, and the grass, you can smell the grass that had been cut. The air's a little crisper. Everything's a little bit sharper. It's a feeling like there is nothing like it in the world. And we've got young kids now that are 20, 21 years old that have never seen the Indians win. So, that's what's amazing to me.
I still, to this day, Tony Pena hitting that home run on a 3-0. He had the take sign, didn't he?
No, you know what?
There's another story.
There's two. I was down at the end of the dugout, and Jeff Newman was looking at me whether I'm going to. Tony had the 3-0, had a 3-0 count, and Tony, it took a triple and a single to drive him in from first base, and so he's 3-0, and we've got I think it was Zane Smith as a left-hander pitching, and I can't. And I let a lot of guys on that ball club swing 3-0.
Sure.
But I thought, it's 13th inning. You got to get him one base. We get him over. We get him in. It's going to take, it's going to take two balls hit hard to get him in. And so I couldn't decide take or red light or green light, red light or green light. And I was just reaching for the red light, and he swung, hit that ball. And I was asked after the game,
green light.
Asked me what it was, a red light or green light. I said no, it was more amber.
Yeah.
It was more amber.
Thanks as always. Great catching up with you.
You guys are the best.
Thanks,
Former Tribe skipper
bet,
Mike Hargrove. 1995 reunion continues this weekend here at Progressive Field. It's 2-1 Tampa. Tampa leading at 2-1 as we go to the fourth inning. It'll be the 3-4-5 hitters for the Rays: Evan Longoria, David DeJesus, and Logan Forsythe. Carlos Carrasco on the hill for the Tribe. He's given up 2 solo homers so far here in the ball game. Well, we're happy to welcome to the booth now Paul Ossenmacher, the left-hander.
We're going to the bullpen.
Mike Hargrove did that quite often with you in key situations. And great to have you back as always. How are you?
Oh, it's good to come back. I'm doing fine. Staying busy down in Atlanta, coaching a little high school baseball and golfing a little bit. But been busy, but it's always great to come back.
You coaching your boys now?
Well, our youngest one's going to be a senior. He's so he plays first base for the high school team. But we've been checking out colleges, but I don't know if he'll be playing college baseball. But yeah, he's our last one of the 5 to go through the school, and it was kind of funny. We seen Ruben Amaro was at one of our games, scouting one of the players that we were playing against, and as it turned out, they drafted him in the first round. This kid,
oh yeah,
Cornelius Randolph or something. So yeah.
Is it funny to see Ruben Amaro general manager now?
Yeah.
Right.
It's surprising where some of the guys you played with end up.
Well, you talk about your youngest being a senior in high school. You had some of your kids were toddlers 20 years ago during that great 1995 season. What memories come to mind when someone asks you about the 1995 season in particular?
Probably just sitting down in the bullpen in the outfield and just kind of laughing and watching how these opposing pitchers have to deal with our lineup. I mean, day in and day out, we watch our guys put up like 7 runs, and we just think, hey, we didn't have a whole lot of pressure on us, because if we knew if we made a mistake, the hitter could cover for us, and it was just unbelievable just watching them.
But the amazing thing was that bullpen was so good. When they did give you the lead, you were able to shut it down and hold them down, and that's what a good bullpen does.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that can be very disheartening for a team if you guys come back and get a lead, then your bullpen gives up the lead. But yeah, I mean, that particular year, the guys down there had some pretty good years, and Jose Mesa was just lights out in the 9th inning. But like Julian Tavares, we really didn't know much about him coming up with a rookie, but
yeah,
Julian had a great rookie year.
Paul, when did you gravitate to the sort of lefty-on-lefty specialist role?
I would say probably when I got over to the American League. I was with the Cubs for about 4 years, and I had a couple years where I pitched over 100 innings out of the bullpen.
Wow!
And for that nowadays you don't see that very often.
It's unheard of
Yeah.
nowadays.
And I didn't feel it at the time, but I don't think I was ever quite the same after a couple years of back-to-back 100 innings pitched. But so I came over to American League and kind of found my niche, just facing a couple guys here and there.
Yeah, the guys like Ken Griffey Jr. and Mo Vaughn, all the guys, the toughest left-handers in the lineup, right?
Well, I mean, that's your job, and if you locate the ball well, you got a chance. It's simple, it's basic, really. If you make good quality pitches, you're going to increase your odds of getting guys out. It's when you hang the ball out over the plate and make a mistake, that's when you're going to get hurt. So,
the hitters let you know when you make a mistake.
Absolutely. That ball will get real small.
Yeah, in a hurry. Yeah. Yeah. And they kept making the ballpark smaller, too.
It's not an easy role to, it might sound, well, you just get the lefty and have him face the other lefty. But when you're only coming in sometimes to face one guy, I don't want to use the word pressure because I think it's overused, but there's not much margin for error. You don't get 5 or 6 pitches to settle in. You've got to be sharp right now.
Absolutely. As a reliever, typically the first guy you're going to face, and maybe the only guy you're going to face, I mean, you've got to get that guy out, and you got to, you have to try to work ahead. I mean, you start getting behind the count, and, the averages are going to go higher. But, yeah, I mean, you just try to keep it simple, though. I mean, you just try to keep it simple. Don't overthink, and just, like I mentioned before, just try to make good quality pitches. But it's almost like being an offensive lineman, and you really get noticed if you get called for like they get called for a holding penalty or something. Yeah.
The funny thing, how long did it take you to understand that coming out of the bullpen? I think that's why managers like veterans coming out of the bullpen, because they don't panic. They know they got to come out, strike one, be aggressive. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Does it take a kid long once he gets into bullpen to realize that?
Yeah, I think the younger guys, as veterans, you do have to do a little bit of, talking to some of the younger guys that, hey, you got to go out there and you got to be aggressive. You can't be nibbling and everything.
Right.
You got to go right after these guys and try to work ahead and count and everything. And I mean, you got to have a short memory. I know you guys have heard it before, but, if you have a bad game, there's a good chance you're going to be, in the same situation again tomorrow. So you just got to, it's a long season, and you just, keep plugging away.
Look what you guys did for Julian Tavares. He pitched forever. He was a young kid on that 95
Yeah,
team.
he was.
Vultured about 10 wins probably coming out of the bullpen.
10 or 12, something like that.
Well, he was like our good luck charm. It just seems like whenever he came in there, good things were going to happen. Yeah, and I know I ended up with a few wins only because I probably came in with us the score tied or us losing, and next thing you know, we scored 3 or 4 runs, and then
They could
Jose
do
would
that
close
late.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, Mesa was, 46 out of 48 that year with about a 113 plunk. The power arms coming out against the righties. You could match up against lefties and even get righties out because you'd come in there. It wasn't just a lefty matchup. You'd go a whole inning, if not more.
Yeah. Well, I actually found out that I don't know how many strikeouts I had in my career, but I would say half of them at least came from like high fastballs.
Right.
I think generally the guys, the scouting report was, hey, he's got a good curveball, and they would start to, their mindset was, okay, if I see a fastball, I'm going to jump on it. Well, I'd give it to him, but I would elevate it where it looks good, but it's just so hard to catch up to.
Right.
Even my 85-mile-an-hour fastball may look like 95 after some of the breaking balls.
He said that all the time.
All the time. Hitters, you just bring it up a little bit higher than that belt, and it looks so good. You can't lay off of it, but you can't get on top of it either. And you just swing at it.
Yeah, very few guys. I played with Andre Dawson in Chicago with the Cubs, and he's one of the very few guys that I could see really tomahawk a high fastball.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a few guys that could do it. Jim Rice could do it too.
Line drive, base hit in the left field for Logan Forsythe. That'll keep the inning alive for Tampa with 2 down. How much fun did you have, 1995 specifically, how much fun was it just to come to work every day?
Well, I mean, it's easy when you go in the ballpark and, it's sold out every day. And during the course of the season, you're kind of going through the process of the season and you're grinding away and everything. And you're enjoying it. But as the season starts to, get into the later months, you're starting to realize, hey, we have a special thing going here. And then as you look back over the years, you knew you had a good thing going when you were playing. But, boy, when you think back over the years, it was really something special.
Yeah, it was.
It was something that it was just unbelievable. Just the young guys like Manny Ramirez hitting bombs off of Eckersley, and
he was young. He didn't know any better at the time. And you had Eddie Murray, the veteran, and Dennis Martinez, another veteran that helped. The veterans would lead the staff and help ease the way for these young kids that were coming up, the Tomies, the Ramirez's, and those guys.
Mm-hmm. It was
Sorrentos.
It was a good combination, absolutely. And I mean, like I said, we were going through the process during the season, but so you really didn't have a chance to dwell on it much until afterwards.
Yeah,
but, it was something special.
I mean, historically, they did things people don't do. You win 100 out of 144 because of the shortened season, and on top of that, they clinched in September and had the whole month to sit around and wait for the playoffs to begin.
Well, it was so special. It was sold out. It was fun, and you know what? When you go to work, it's not work when you're a player, pal. You just come to the ballpark and enjoy it and have fun. When you win, it's a bonus. When you don't win, you have to fight a little harder. That's all there is to it. But it is always fun.
And you guys know how great the fans are here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're awesome, and so they made it easy. I remember us flying back from trips from Seattle playoff games.
Oh gosh, yeah.
2, 3 in the morning, and they'd be at the airport rocking the bus, and they were the best.
That was one of the loudest series I've ever heard. Is in Seattle, that first playoff series, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. You couldn't even hear yourself think. Yeah.
We'll get back to it after this inning.
Carlos Carrasco strikes out 3 here in the 4th. Rays still lead it 2-1. All right, let's take a look at our T-Mobile game changer right now. Kenny Lofton, the 1995 Indians, the Roadrunner, the table setter. He made it happen at the top of the order.
Boy, did he ever.
13 triples, 54 steals in 1995. Started the All-Star game, won the Gold Glove.
Well, you couldn't walk Kenny. You better put him on, but he could bunt, he could hit, and he could run, and could play some defense. Could do it all.
We're visiting with Paul Ossenbacher. Did you guys ever sit out there in the bullpen among yourselves and commiserate and say, now, if I had to face Albert Bell or Manny Ramirez or Jim Thome or Kenny Lofton, this is how I'd get him out?
Why ruin a good day of watching a nice ball game if your hitter's knocking around? No. I mean, sometimes you kind of pick up a few things, but, for the most part, if guys were getting them out, they would make adjustments and stuff. But, yeah, I'm glad I wasn't on the other side. Like, I was with the White Sox the year before in '94. And I knew this team was up and coming. So when John Hart called about, hey, we have an opening for you, I jumped at it, yeah.
The funny thing is we just talked to Grover about 94 setting up 95 because, the Sox were in first place. Unfortunately, no World Series or anything like that. So John Hart was smart enough to grab you and bring you over here, huh?
Yeah. Well, I still go around and around with some of the Indians because they swear that they were going to catch us later on.
Right.
But I believe Mark Clark had just broken his finger later on in that '94 season. And Jack McDowell, who really didn't pitch well for us in the first part of the season, '94, started pitching well. So, we had a good team, and I thought that, I liked our chances, but, as you know how it ended. But,
Yeah. Unfortunately, the only year a World Series was never played.
Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, when I came here that one time, I said, what a nice ballpark. You guys were
That was the very first year of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, in 1995, Mike Hargrove was just here and talked about all of the come-from-behind wins and the things that just weren't commonplace. And by the time you got to the Indians, you had been around the block. So you knew that what was going on here was not commonplace.
Yeah, it wasn't normal. Like I said before, in the beginning of the season, I said, okay, this is good. Yeah, but the next thing you know, we end up with about 8 guys hitting over 300.
Yeah.
And, scoring 7 runs a game. It's very, very unusual, what went on. And, all the comeback from behind games we had.
It was let me put it this way. It was a strange team. A lot, those guys were a little goofy, weren't they?
Yeah, we had some
in a
character.
good way.
Absolutely.
Personalities. It was a fun team. I mean, I played against Orel Hershiser for several years, but it was fun to play with them. I mean, I had a great time with Orel. We spent a lot of time playing cribbage on the airplane. I always tease him that I finished my basement because I was playing cribbage with him on the plane.
That's beautiful.
But
Paul, that's the one thing I wanted to ask you about, though, because we all talk about the 95 teams, and the first thing we think of is offense. I mean, just intimidating offense. The players, the numbers, what they did. But everyone overlooks how good the pitching was, in particular the starters. And you brought up Orel Hershiser and Dennis Martinez. I mean, that team had a very good – I think you guys led the league in ERA, and people always forget that.
Right.
Yeah, when I came in January, February for that Tri-Fest, I said, well, I better watch a CD of the 95 team to kind of recollect what exactly went on. And I didn't realize, the ERA and, the numbers that the pitching staff put up. And, yeah, so it was a good combination of good offense, good defense with Omar and, of course, Caney and Sandy and, Tony behind the plate. So the defense was solid. And but I think when you have a good offense, you don't have to be perfect as a pitcher.
Nice play at third by Longoria, but the throw is offline, and that gets up into the photo bay, so that's going to allow Murphy to go to second base on the air. It'll be an infield single and an error charged to Longoria.
Yeah, not an easy play because he has to go to his backhand side, but then try and get something on the throw. If it's accurate, they may have a chance, but it's a little offline. Elmore had to come off the bag. It deflects into the seats. So give Murphy a base hit. There's nothing he could do. Murphy was running right down the line. Goes into the seats, so he'll go to second on the error. It's only the 32nd error for Tampa this year.
He brings up Brandon Moss. who lined out hard to center his first and only time up in the second. Drive down a run here in the fourth.
Now, you pay attention to baseball nowadays, right? And you still keep in touch with it. What do you think of the specialization of the bullpen now? Because now there's 7 or 8 guys coming out of every bullpen.
Yeah, and, to me, it just limits the manager's option with his bench players. I mean, whoever starts the game is pretty much going to have to finish it. And, the game is, it's definitely changed. I mean, when I first started, we usually maybe had 10, maybe 11 man,
11 max when it comes to pitchers,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, but now, like you said, they may have 12, 13, and yeah, it's definitely different. The game's changed, and the fact that
you might have been able to pitch for another 5 years if you just matched up to 1 hitter or 2 hitters every time out. You'd pitch maybe 3 or 4 times a week, but
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, if you don't have to throw hard, if you can just, Greg Maddux didn't throw that hard, but he could locate his fastball. But if you can locate your fastball and throw off-speed pitches for strikes behind an account, you can stay around a long time.
I think there's more power arms in the game now coming out, but they can't control it as well. They throw a little bit harder, but the lack of velocity, it's all set up on the fastball, isn't it?
Yes.
You played with Greg Maddux, right, in Chicago?
Yeah.
He was a great competitor. You remember this moment in the World Series? Up and into Eddie Murray.
Oh, yeah.
After it was Albert that hit the home run, I believe. And then Eddie didn't appreciate it too much.
And I think that might have gotten to Greg a little bit, too. He was pretty stoic out there. But I think, that confrontation right there kind of rattled Greg a little bit. But, yeah, Greg's command is so good that was, definitely intentional. And yeah,
that's the World Series because they're leaning out over the plate because the umpires were calling that pitch that year.
Oh, Game 6 with Tommy?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah, Tommy lives in our neighborhood, and I see him quite a bit, and our son used to cook for him for several years, and I said, I never did have that conversation with Tommy, but boy, he was,
Yeah, 6 inches to a foot is a strike.
Yeah.
But, well, he's in the Hall of Fame now talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? And I think there was the American League umpire behind the plate. So we said, oh, sweet, we got a chance here.
Urshela bounces to third. Longoria steps on the bag, goes to first. This time he's on the money. Paul, great to catch up with you. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Former Indians pitcher Paul Ossenmacher helping us reminisce about the 95 Tribe. Right now it's 2-1 Tampa through 4. Baseball is brought to you by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers, by the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough. It's a 2-1 Tampa lead as we go to the 5th inning. As Dribble Cabrera, Jake Elmore, Rene Rivera for the Rays. Cabrera's homer. The difference in the game right now. A 2-out solo shot in the second inning.
Yeah, it was a spinner that he threw up there that he was able to hit out. A hanging one at that.
Tied with Kenny Lofton for the 9th most home runs all time here.
Our first guest tonight.
Yeah, apparently there were some signals crossed.
Yeah.
Pop to left. Over near the line. Brantley will make the catch. 1 away. Let's go down to Andre. Interesting dynamic tonight with Carrasco on the hill and Kevin Cash in town as the visiting manager, because he had a big impact on his season last year, didn't he?
He absolutely did. He said the entire time that Cash was here that he always helped him, and especially when he got moved to the bullpen last year. He says, Mickey helped him with a lot of things, technically with how he was pitching. But he said the one guy that always told him about confidence and to be confident in the stuff that he has was Kevin Cash. And he says he couldn't have gotten to this point without Cash telling him that. I told Cash that earlier. He laughed. He said, heck, if I could throw 96, 95 miles an hour, he goes, imagine the confidence I'd have in myself. But Carrasco loved everything that Cash did for him while he was here.
Well, the thing about that story that I find so fascinating is it was Kevin and Mickey who begged and pleaded, literally, with Tito to say, put him back in the rotation, give him another chance. And Terry was very hesitant because, look, he'd seen it, and it didn't work. And so to ask him to go back and do it again, boy, that's kind of a leap of faith for the manager.
It was almost his last chance at getting a start.
But, boy, they were right. Both Mickey and Kevin were right that he had figured something out, and he was ready to finally show
he's been
potential.
Let me tell you, he's been a different person since last year. Different guy when he toes the rubber. The confidence is there. And if you remember, one time this year, Mickey went out there and challenged Carrasco during a start. And, let's go, kick it into gear. And he's been a different guy since, so.
Fastball away.
Trust your stuff. It's amazing how, Ossenmacher says, look, just 85, 86 miles an hour fastball helps. Well, how about 96 if you can control it, how good you can be?
Got him looking. Boy, he painted the bottom of the strike zone with that heater. 4th strikeout for Carrasco. And they've all come bunched here in the last 2 innings.
Make this our Circle K strikeout of the night. Low tracer. Little comeback to it. Bottom part of the zone. Outside corner. Called strikeout.
Yeah, all 4 strikeouts have come in the span of 6 batters. RENE RIVERA with 2 down steps in now. Rivera smoked a line drive to third his last time up. That Giovanni Urshela got glove on but couldn't quite bring it in. Lazy fly to right, and on 8 pitches, Carrasco cruises through the 5th. Our score, we go to the bottom of the 5th. Injury report brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk and Elk. We alluded to this earlier, the pitching issues for the Tampa Bay Rays. Alex Cobb, key starter. Matt Moore, Drew Smiley, even Jake Odorizio I had forgotten about.
He was pitching lights out this year. And, he should be back in a little while. But, yeah, if they get those guys back, they could be in really good shape.
Let's go down to Andre, who has more on Yan Gomes. You saw Gomes in the dugout. Came out last night with a neck problem. What's the latest there, Andre?
The latest right now is Tito Francona said he's just giving him the day off. He has a stiff neck. He thinks he'll be fine. He's in the clubhouse. He's out here in the dugout right now watching the game, laughing and talking, so he should be okay. Just a sore neck, according to Terry Francona.
Bourne grounds out. It was interesting. As you were talking, Andre, we could see Gomes kind of flexing his neck, kind of rolling it. So
give him a massage while you're down there, Andre.
I think I will. I'll do that right after you come down here for once. I've been loving the stories you guys have been saying, but I think with Jan, they want to just be very careful. They want to take care of the knee, but also because he catches and all the things that go on back there, they just want to be safe rather than be sorry in the long run with him. Now I'll go massage him. Leave me alone.
Attaboy.
Ooh. There's Roberto Perez, who grounded to third. His only time up. "44 out of the 66 pitches thrown by Nathan Carnes have been strikes."
I thought you were going to say have been curveballs.
That may be true.
He's thrown a lot of them tonight. We said 26% at the outset, but, he's got enough on that fastball. It's around 92, that it can get by you, and he changes your eye level with a high fastball, and then he comes back, and it seems like he can throw that curve anytime he wants. It's a comfort pitch, I think. Get me over strike one. He could try to get you to chase if he gets ahead in the count.
Up and away with a heater. There's the breaking ball to strike him out.
Yep, followed it up after a high fastball.
Third K for Carnes. 2 down. Top of the order, Jason Kipnis, as we take another look at the breaking ball.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a knuckle curve, didn't it? Coming out of his hand like that with the good spin to it.
Got a lot of spin on it.
Well, the first time through the lineup, Carnes was 2 for 9. First pitch strike. Second time through, 7 for 9. So made an adjustment.
Well, Jason Kipnis is 2 for 2. He doubled and scored the Indians' only run on the first, and then he singled in the third. But Kipnis with half the Indians' hits. The only other hits coming from David Murphy and Francisco Lindor, and those were both infield hits. Couldn't hold up. 1-on-1. Two balls and a strike. And a big curveball is up out of the strike zone. 3-1. Goes after the 3-1 pitch. Sends it to DeJesus, and the Indians go 1-2-3. 5 complete, 2-1 Tampa. We're right back here at Progressive Field tomorrow night. Game 2 between the Indians and Rays as Corey Kluber will take the hill against Erasmo Ramirez. Alan Jensen, get your Saturday night started at 6:30 with Indians Live. And then we've got every pitch for you starting at 7 on Sports Time Ohio. There's Corey Kluber, who will take the hill tomorrow. Top of the order for Tampa, Kevin Kiermaier will lead it off. Second time through the order, the Rays were 1 for 9 against Carrasco. And he had 4 strikeouts, and that foul went off the mask of Perez. Kiermaier trying to bunt his way aboard.
This is a guy that's a hard-nosed player you don't hear much about because he plays in Tampa, but a young player that can do a little bit of everything.
Down and in with the off-speed pitch. Well, here's Carrasco once again, a very efficient performance. First time through the lineup, 34 pitches. Second time through the lineup, 37 pitches. And he's on his way to getting you deep into the game again.
Well, he has 4 strikeouts, hasn't walked anybody yet.
Nice catch in right field by Moss, who got a good break on the ball. 1 down. In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. It was Joey Butler who's coming up now in the first inning, who launched a home run to put Tampa on top 1-0. Bottom of the first, it was a wild pitch that played at Jason Kipnis, who had doubled to start the inning. And then Asdrubal Cabrera with a 2-out solo homer in the second. That accounts for all of the runs so far here tonight. Swing and a miss. 6 home runs on the year for Butler. 3 years ago, in the minor leagues, he hit 20 and drove in 78 for Round Rock and batted .290 that year. So he has shown his potential. He's a career .293 hitter in the minor leagues. But it just, nobody's really been ready to give him a chance until now. And sometimes that's all it takes.
That's all you need is a chance sometimes.
Smashed up the middle, another hit for Butler. He's 2 for 3.
Well, another pitch you're going to see that he leaves upstairs. That slider, it's middle of the plate. He makes a mistake and he hits it hard right back up the middle. Didn't get this one elevated at all. It's the 6th hit now for Tampa.
So up comes Evan Longoria, 0 for 2 tonight. He has flied out, struck out. Evan Longoria in the 3rd year of a 10-year contract. And will take him through 2022.
Wow.
That's called committing. Checked his swing. He didn't go around. And it's 2-0.
Well, Longoria, a good ball player, can play third. He can hit with power. He's a good player. His problem has been injuries, staying healthy, but he's been able to do that in the last couple of years.
Swing and a miss. He played all 162 last year and 160 the year before that.
Yeah. That's not an easy thing to do. You're talking every game, and then 160 is pretty much so.
2-1 pitch. You talk about I don't want to say overnight success story, but Evan Longoria went from being undrafted in high school. Then he went to Rio Hondo Junior College. You're familiar with that program, right?
Yeah, Rio Hondo, yeah.
And then he became the highest drafted player ever out of Long Beach State in 2006. So he goes from being undrafted to the highest drafted player Long Beach State ever had. Strikes out here, 2 down. 5th K for Carrasco. Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Cleveland with 614 punch-outs. Tampa Bay has struck out 565.
But, I mean, they are cruising, aren't they? By many.
Longoria has struck out twice tonight. That gives him 55 on the year. He's tied for the team lead in that category. Let me ask you, for as good a hitter as he has been in his career, is this maybe the most challenging season for him? Because to take nothing away from David DeJesus, he doesn't have that big, real power threat protecting him in the lineup.
Well, I'll tell you what, it could be how teams pitch him a little differently. They don't have to challenge him. They can pitch around him, and I think anytime you get guys on, they can go with breaking balls and pitch, just pitch around them.
Terrific play by Jason Kipnis. Another one on the night. And we'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Still Tampa 2, Cleveland 1. Three 4-hitters due up for the Tribe: Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Carlos Santana. Nathan Carnes has given up just 1 run on 4 hits through 5 innings, and he'll start the 6th inning with his 75th pitch of the night. And yet that's all irrelevant to Kevin Cash, because he's got a lefty and a righty up and getting loose in the Tampa bullpen.
Well, Tampa uses their bullpen more than anybody in the league this year, and the Indians are second, but should be no surprise because, Cash and Francona have been together, but they can't stretch these starters a little too long. They have to, if you're going to err, you're going to err on the short side so you don't extend them through hitters, and you can always get to that bullpen.
Carnes went 6 innings his last time out, 5 2/3 before that, 5 before that, 6 before that, 5 2/3, 5. I mean, that's kind of where he's at.
As I told you, the second fewest innings.
Breaking ball swung out and missed. This curveball off the glove, and it's going to be a base hit for Lindor.
Better get on it. It might be a double if you don't hurry.
Carnes knocked it into shallow right, and Forsythe quickly ran after it. But Lindor is aboard to start the sixth for the Indians.
Yeah, it's a one-hopper. If he catches it, no problem. You get the out. It goes off the finger of his glove and deflects into right field. So Lindor gets a base hit. He's 2 for 3 now. So between he and Kipnis, they have 4 of the 5 Indians hits.
Michael Brantley hit a line drive right at the first baseman Elmore in the first inning. Fly to right his last time up. And it's low, ball 1. Lindor held at first by Elmore. Boy, even as analytically fanatical as the Tampa Bay Rays are perceived to be, they play Michael Brantley absolutely straight up.
And why wouldn't you? Most teams do.
But the only thing I'm a little surprised is that they're giving him as much of a hole on the right side as they are.
Well, that means they're not going to force him to pull a ball. They're going to let him go the other way with it.
Down low, 2-1.
If he happens to pull a ball in the hole there, that's going to be a mistake pitch. They want him, their pitchers, to make that pitch. He hits the ball where it is pitched. If it's outside, he tries to go the other way. But the tough thing about Brantley is to fool him, because rarely is he out front on that front foot and he roll over on pitches. You can get in there, maybe jam him a little bit, but
2-1, line to left, a base hit.
That's just a great job of hitting. There's nothing you can do.
He says, okay, you're going to give me that? I'll take it.
Right.
Let's go back down to Andre.
You know, I got to ask you guys, it's weird watching the Rays play and not seeing shifts all over the place. I know Joe Madden's no longer here, but I've been watching throughout the night. They haven't had a lot of shifts, and when Madden was here, it seemed like there were guys all over the place moving every pitch. Not the case so far. There's 6 innings here with the Rays tonight.
Yeah, Santana's the one guy, and you'll see it here. He's the one guy that we have seen them shift on, but for the most part.
That's an easy call, you know, for Santana. That's no doubt. Show me a team that doesn't shift for him. But you're right. It's been very generic tonight.
Well, Carlos takes a strike here. He's 0 for 2. He hit the ball hard his first time up, but he lined it right at the center fielder, Kiermaier. Grounded to first his last time up.
Okay. Yes, Bobby. It's your turn. You have a question?
In the dirt, blocked nicely by Rivera. He was active in the first inning. 2 wild pitches in the first inning alone, but nothing since. Santana trying to come up with a big hit here. Tried down a run in the 6th with 2 on, nobody out. Down and in. Popped up, foul, and out of play. And the count is now 2-2.
Getting to that point, too, where it looks like tough sky up there picking up the baseball.
Outfield for Tampa is straight away and deep.
Well, Kearns has 2 wild pitches tonight, so heads up. If you get to that curveball again, he's bounced a number of them tonight.
And a foul right back. Past Indian shortstop, future Indian shortstop. Well, current, I should say. Cabrera and Lindor meeting at second base for a brief chat. And the 2-2 strikes him out.
Looked like a changeup, down and away.
4th strikeout for Carnes, and that's going to be it, I think, as Kevin Cash kind of slow jogs. Yeah, he's already called for the left-hander. So the 4th strikeout of the night will be the final pitch for Carnes. And the Indians might go to the bench here for Ryan Rayburn as David Murphy heads back to the dugout. We've got a Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. And let the pitching carousel begin between the Indians and the Rays here in the 6th. Tampa leading it 2-1. Two-1 Tampa. Time for a flashback to 1995. Albert Bell's grand slam off Lee Smith, who said afterwards he hit it in the barbecue pit.
Yes, he did. Just another one of those walk-offs that we had talked about earlier.
New pitcher for Tampa is Xavier Cedeno. He's stranded 12 of 14 inherited runners since joining the Rays. And he's got 2 on with 1 out here. Ryan Rayburn will be the pinch hitter for the Tribe. He's 4 for 14 on the year as a pinch hitter with 7 runs batted in.
Right, it's going to be a little tougher now. You get the right-hander coming in he has to face, but still with 2 inherited runners on. Santana unable to move them, so they remain at first and second.
Down low, ball 1. Cedeno's pitched for both the Astros and Nationals before this season. At the knees, outside corner. Cedeno had been with the Dodgers before Tampa got him from L.A. for cash in April. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Outside again, you could see Rivera. He tried subtly to try and to keep frame that over the outside corner, but Tim Welke not buying it. 3-1.
No, and he's nibbling right now. So now Ryan Rayburn in a really good hitter spot. 3-1 here in this situation. Cedeno forces him to come in and try and throw a strike. You got the lefty on deck.
Pitching coach Kevin Hickey talking with Cash. 3-1 to Rayburn, fouled back.
Good swing, too.
I don't know what this was. It was only 87 miles an hour.
Well, it had to be his fastball, 87. And that was a high fastball, just elevated enough where he fouled it straight back.
Two on, 1 out. And now time called as Rivera goes out. Ronald Belisario getting up in the bullpen now. Alongside Steve Geltz, so 2 right-handers up. And the set by Cedeno. Rayburn fouled her off of his foot. Full count. We're in the bottom of the 6th. The Indians down a run. LINDOR with an infield single. Brantley a line drive base hit to left. Then Santana struck out. And now the 3-2 to Ryan Rayburn. And he strikes out as well. 2 down.
Well, this pitch had looked like it was going downstairs a little bit. He must have a little run on that pitch. Here cuts it or whatever, but that one looked like it was out of the strike zone. But Rayburn goes down swinging. So back-to-back strikeouts. Well, we'll see if the Indians can come out with a 2-out base hit.
Here's Brandon Moss. He has lined out and walked tonight. Hit fouled on the right side. Pretty good Friday night crowd. But so far, just 1 run for the Indians, and that came in the first. They had this inning set up with the first 2 on, nobody out, but back-to-back strikeouts. And now they're leaning on Moss, looking for a big hit. And it's 0-2. Moss trying to snap an 0-for-10 slump. Strikes him out, inning over. Indians get 2 hits to start the inning and then strike out 3 straight times to end it. Is brought to you by Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T UVerse, has more channels on the go than cable. 2-1 Tampa, 7th inning. Hits are even at 6 apiece. For the Rays, Logan Forsythe, Steven Souza, and Asdrubal Cabrera due up. Carrasco on 84 pitches tonight has given up just 2 runs, both on solo homers. Hasn't walked anybody, struck out 5.
Nope, first 2 innings, that was it. Solo homer in the first, second hitter, and then the third hitter in the second. Well, keep him right here until that offense can find a way to score some runs.
Logan Forsythe is 2 for 2 tonight. He's got 2 hits, both of them singles. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike. There's a line drive, and he's got his 3rd hit of the night. Brantley overcuts it off, makes a good, strong throw to second base. And he is out at second. Brantley guns down yet another runner. Logan Forsythe's trying to stretch a single into a double.
They're looking.
Second base umpire Toby Bassner made the call emphatically as Kipnis had to come off the bag a little bit to field the throw and then quickly slap the tag on him. And now Kevin Cash is going to ask the umpires to take a look at it.
That's close. It is awfully close, and it was another nice throw by Brantley. We see him do this time and time again. And I think it's a good challenge right there because it looks like he may get the hand in. Hard to tell. But once again, you have a 1-run lead. Why not try and stretch it into a double? It's awfully close. We'll see if they can overturn it or it's going to stand. Look at, he even said it was close. That's what he said right there. It's close. He wasn't sure if he got his hand in.
Tim Welke, the crew chief, is on your right. Toby Bassner, who made the call, number 99, he's on the left.
Let's see if he gets that hand in. The left hand by the time the tag is applied. Boy, that is going to be close. I don't know if they have enough to overturn it. Here again is where we're seeing this shot at second base in front of us. Nothing from behind to where we can see if that tag's made from another angle. I mean, it is so close again. Carrasco will continue to get loose.
Boy, unless you've got an extended camera lens, I don't know how you can get a much better look at it.
No, well,
unless you put a camera right on the bag.
We may have to have a drone over second base and keep it flying there. It's a great throw by Brantley. And it was a bang-bang play. I like the aggressiveness of Forsythe. Here comes the throw. Kipnis gets it. He goes head first. Here comes the tag. There goes the hands. I can't tell you if he gets in or he doesn't. But he is called out, so they're going to have to see more evidence that we're seeing right here if they want to call him safe. Because it looks like the tag does get him on that right arm we just can't see it.
It looks like the tag is on the forearm, but the question is, does it graze the forearm before he gets the bag, or does his hand get the bag before he gets the tag on that elbow?
Well, I don't know. It takes time, and they're having a tough time looking at it. So You can look over and get 10 people, and you may get 10 different opinions.
Got one more.
All right, here's a different angle. Now we would think you could see if he could touch the left hand. From that angle, after looking at the other one, he probably is out. I think he gets the left forearm. You know where you say he does? After looking at it from the other angle, Michael said, I don't know. I just made another good throw. It's not up to me. And he did. He made a nice, clean, accurate throw. I'm going to have to say the call's going to stand.
I think the longer this goes, the more you have a chance to be right.
We have seen a lot more of this year where that call stands because it is just tough to tell.
All right, here we go. Call on the field is out. He is out.
Yeah. So Michael gets another assist.
Terrific throw.
Yeah, it really was.
And Kipnis, give him a lot of credit because it wasn't right on the bag. He had to quickly get it and get it down to the bag lightning fast, and that enabled him to get the call.
Turns out to be a very big out in this inning because if he's safe, man on second, nobody out, and you're already down a run.
So Logan Forsythe's third hit of the night goes for naught essentially as he's erased on the play at second base. Souza 0 for 2. Takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Kipnis behind the bag from the outfield grass. Throws low. Santana couldn't dig it out. So Souza's aboard with one out here in the seventh.
Well, Kipnis got there, made the throw, and I don't know if did it short hop Santana? Tough to tell.
A little bit.
Let's take a look. A peek. Yeah, it short hopped. He couldn't come up with it. So I'm sure that'll be an error on Kipnis. He got there. Well, let's say a single.
One on, one out for his Dribble Cabrera. Souza has 8 steals. He's been caught 5 times. You know, you think of Asdrubal Cabrera, and you think of him as being a young player relative to the 95 Indians. And yet before the ballgame, he exchanged hugs and handshakes with Jim Thome and Kenny Lofton because he was teammates with both of them. That's how long those guys ended up playing. There's a pitch off the plate. 1-0. Beautiful sky as the sun sets here in downtown Cleveland. Carrasco keeping a close eye on Souza. And as he squares off against his former teammate who took him deep back in the second inning on a slider that just didn't do much.
Difference of the ball game right now is that home run. You had a feeling he was going to hit one today, didn't you?
Yeah, and for no other reason that it seems like whenever the Indians go up against a guy who is a former Indian.
And has spent some time here.
Yeah, significant player. They tend to have a good game.
Victor being one of them.
Yeah. Again and again and again.
Well, I think he's activated tonight as well in New York for the Tigers. He'll be back here Monday. But I know what you're saying. Well, when you're with a team for any length of time and you leave, whether you're traded or you sign as a free agent or it doesn't matter, you come back and you always want to do good against that team. It's human nature. It's instinct.
Runner goes and a foul back by Cabrera. Souza had no idea where the ball was. He thought he had a steal there. He's like, what? I have to go back? Oh. Rocco Baldelli coaching down at first. He was a young Tampa phenom at one time before injuries really derailed his career.
Yes, he was.
Smashed into right field. A hit for Cabrera. On his way to third goes Souza. And now Rays are at the corners with only one out.
3 straight hits for Tampa, but the throw out on the leadoff hitter by Brantley that, boy, has done the only out in the inning. Cabrera smokes this ball up and out over the plate. So they go first and third down with one out.
Tell you what, he gets a double play to get out of this. How big is that call?
Yeah. Well, that's what he needs. You don't want to let them get any more. So he's looking for a ground ball double play.
Elmore grounded to short in the second inning, struck out his last time up.
He'll take either one of those. Ground ball to short or a strikeout here.
In tight, almost hit him. Tampa got a solo homer in the first from Joey Butler and a solo homer from Asdrubal Cabrera in the second. That's been it. This is their first at bat of the night with a runner in scoring position. And Roberto Perez is going to go out for a chat. Carrasco's closing in on 100 pitches, and he hasn't looked himself this inning.
Well, I was going to say he's going to have to go down and dig deep right now because he's right at the end. He's got to give every single thing he has to get this out. If not a double play ball. You have double barrel action in the Indians bullpen that are ready to go.
Crockett the lefty, Jeff Manship from the right side. Carrasco ready with a 2-0. Now it's 3 balls, no strikes.
It's almost like he lost it, that feel for the fastball now, because everything's inside to the righties. Up and in, up and in.
The pitch. Bullseye, 3-1. First and third, one out here in the 7th. Tampa leading it 2-1.
Look out.
The bat went over the top of the dugout into the seats. And it'll be a full count as Elmore goes for a new bat. Luckily, everybody appears to be okay. Didn't clobber anyone as it.
No, but that went about 4 or 5 rows over the dugout or the suites down there. .65% strikes for Carrasco tonight. Again, he's usually right in that area, 65 to 70. He pounds the strike zone. Well, this may be the biggest pitch for him tonight right here. The only time he's had a guy in scoring position.
Runner goes at first, and the payout pitch is popped to left. This is going to be interesting. Brantley makes the catch. Souza going to try to score. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Souza able to beat the throw to the dish, and the Rays' lead is now 3-1. Elmore gets his 13th RBI on the year.
Just deep enough, and Brantley stayed behind it nicely, got in, put something on that throw. It just couldn't get there, just a little too deep. So sacrifice fly. They put another one on the board, but they get their second out.
With 2 down, Rene Rivera, the batter, 1 for 2 on the night. Strike called to the outside corner. The 0-2. And a foul right back. Got a piece of Perez on its way back to the screen. 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, 2 men left for Tampa. 1 run, 6 hits, no errors, 5 left already for Cleveland. Right field base hit, another knock. And stopping at second base is Drupal Cabrera. That's 4 hits in the inning. And here comes Terry Francona. And that'll end the night for Carlos Carrasco, who just ran into trouble here in the 7th or ran out of gas. One or the other. He'll go 6 2/3 innings tonight. He'll leave on the short end of a 3-1 score. Don't miss MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1 with highlights, analysis, and live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is on every weeknight at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. The new Indians pitcher is Kyle Crockett. just got called back up from AAA Columbus. It did not go well for him when he went down. 2-1 with a .591 earned run average in 21 appearances. However, since May 27th, in his last 7 outings, he's given up 1 run in 8 2/3 innings with 9 strikeouts. So whatever the problems were early, he has seemed to figure out, and hopefully that means good things to come, because, boy, what we have seen from him in the past, he has been dynamite. He's on to face Kevin Kiermaier with 2 on and 2 out here in the 7th. Tribe down 3-1.
Well, Carrasco didn't walk anybody. They did get 10 hits off him. And in this inning, Matt, he had Souza down 0-2, got a base hit. Cabrera down 1-2, got a base hit. And then Rivera down 0-2 and got the base hit.
Yeah, so he didn't look himself. He when Rivera got the base hit, he kind of turned back towards either the dugout or to Perez and just kind of slapped his hands together in frustration. They'll get out of the inning on the force out at second. And it's stretch time at Progressive Field with the Indians down 3-1. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Stay tuned for Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care, coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Indians are down to their last 3 at-bats. So 9 outs to go. They're trailing it 3-1. Steve Geltz will be the new pitcher, right-hander, 5'10", 210 pounds. Bottom third of the Indians' order here. Giovanni Urshela, Michael Bourne, Roberto Perez. And they've got a left-hander up in the bullpen. Steve Geltz is from small-town America. Ransomville, New York, population 1,400, has 1 stoplight. He went to Wilson High School in nearby Wilson, New York, population 1,250, also 1 stoplight.
Boys from Niagara Falls stole all the stoplights. That's down outside the Buffalo area.
Yeah, right on the shore of Lake Ontario is where you find Wilson, New York, where he went to high school. There's a long fly ball, but it's going to hook foul. Boy, Urshela hammered it.
Well, yeah, you started early, you get out in front, had a nice pitch to hit, but just a little too quick on it.
Elevated the heater that time, 1-2. Got a piece, stays alive. Boston shutting out Kansas City 2-0 there in the second inning at Kauffman Stadium. That's got to be enough. That score has to be up there. It can't still be in the second inning, right?
Well, unless there was some rain there, you never know. Been a lot in the Midwest.
Yeah, those scores are all wrong. 1-2 pitch. Urshela checks. Did he go? He did not. The 2-2 swung on and missed, strikes him out. That's 4 straight strikeouts now for Tampa pitching.
It sure is. Another fastball you're going to see above the belt, and you're going to see a swing and a miss. That's a ball. But you chase after it, you swing through it. Out number 1 here in the 7th.
Red Sox lead the Royals 6-0. They're in the 5th inning at Kauffman Stadium. Twins lead the Cubs 5-1. They're in the 5th at Target Field. Rangers shutting out Texas 1-0 in Chicago. They're in the 6th inning at U.S. Cellular Field.
When in doubt, Matty, hit the iPad.
Yeah. Yankees are beating the Tigers 5-2 in New York. They're in the 7th inning. Bounce to first. Oh, what a backhanded play by Elmore. Nicely done, 2 away.
Well, nice soft backhand here on the play. Gets on a short hop, plants, and no problem.
High pop, right field. Souza near the line. And the Indians go 1, 2, 3 on 9 pitches. By authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. (3-1) Tampa leads it as we go to the 8th inning. And the Indians go back to the bullpen. Jeff Manship, who was just called up Called up yesterday. This is what he's done so far this year down at AAA.
Well, he's going to get 2, 3, and 4 in the Tampa lineup. Butler, Longoria, De Jesus.
Joey Butler has been a force. 2 for 3 with a solo homer back in the first inning. And again, Butler doesn't qualify for the league leaders because this is only his 40th game. Began the night with a .515 slugging percentage. And a breaking ball swung out and missed, 0-2. And a ball in the dirt. And a swing and a miss at the breaking ball. There's the AT&T U-verse rewind. Tribe's been playing very well tonight defensively. Jason Kipnis, first batter of the game, had to make that stop. Then he turned a nice double play here. Michael Bourne running one down on the warning track. Giovanni Urshela turned an inning-ending double play.
Yeah, some decent defense, but they're still down 2. They only have 1 run on the board. They got to find a way to score some runs.
Well, you and I have talked about the Indians' struggles at home this year at great length. 6 games under 500 at the start of the night here at Progressive Field. One of the reasons, as Tom Bochenek points out, is their inability to score late, to come from behind. The magic of Jacobs Field, Progressive
home
Field.
Field advantage, right.
They've been outscored 59-26 from the 7th inning on at home this year.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that much. That's tough to come back. I mean, if you're getting outscored late in the ball game, usually that's where you come back and you have your situations where you feel comfortable, you have the crowd into it, you get a base runner on, you got that feeling. They just haven't been able to generate that this year for whatever reason.
And not to throw all the blame in any one direction, but if you give up a run, and it might only be a run, like tonight's game, for example, it's a 2-1 game. You give up that run on the 7th, now it's a 3-1 game.
Yeah, I understand.
Changes the dynamic a little bit.
You have to score more than 3 in this league to win. It's a rarity to win if you only score 3 or less. And they've done it 6 times. It's rarely happens.
Popped him up. Playable for Santana. 2 down. Longoria 0 for 4. And up comes David De Jesus, who is hitless in 3 trips tonight. De Jesus takes a little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Manship signed a minor league free agent deal in the offseason, and in his Indians debut has retired the first 2 in a row, but he's fallen behind to Jesus 3-1. Seven balls, 7 strikes for the right-hander. Hit foul. Full count.
Well, and that's the guy like DeJesus is. You get the count in his favor, and he's going to look for that one pitch, the fastball. That's when he'll try and turn on it. Now you get to 3-2. Now he's going to look to try and get on base.
And he missed upstairs, ball 4. 2-out walk will bring up Logan Forsythe, who is a perfect 3 for 3 on the night. All 3 hits have been singles. Last time up, he tried for a double, and Michael Brantley threw him out by a whisker at second base. Jeff Manship drafted and developed by the Minnesota Twins. Made his major league debut in 2009. Pitched for the Twins until 2012. Then he went to the Rockies in 2013, signing as a free agent. Hit foul down the third base
just
side.
Barely foul.
Spent last year with the Phillies. And then signed in the offseason with Cleveland.
See, that ball starts out fair and by about 2 feet.
The 1-1 and a little bit low. Taps that one foul, third base side. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out to end the inning. Manship fans a pair in his Indians debut. Tampa leading it 3-1. Stay tuned for Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care, coming up after the ball game. We're going to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And Tampa will go back to their bullpen.
Big left-hander.
Jake McGee.
For the 14th time. Covering 12 innings. This guy, an easy 95, 96 when healthy. But this Tampa club, it seems like they're never dead set on one closer. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with multiple saves. Boxberger leading away with 16. McGee has 3. He's coming on the 8th, so you never know how they're going to end up closing the ball game.
Jason Kipnis doubled and scored the Indians' only run in the first. That double extended his home hitting streak to 23 games. And overall, he's hitting 14 in a row. Taking a strike.
Yeah, that's what you do. Late in the game, you're down 2 runs. You need a base runner to get that tying run to the plate.
Liner toward left field. Base hit for Kipnis. His 3rd hit of the night.
Well, Jason Kipnis has that stroke back. It's another 3-hit game by Kip. First one caught chalk for a double, his 20th. Another one, just a nice line drive to center field, soft left center. And this is off on a good, tough left-hander. Base hit to left. So he continues to roll. Another multi-hit effort. Another 3-hit game. Let's see if they can do something with him.
Francisco Lindor, 2 hits on the night. And a foul right back.
It's the 4th time they've had their leadoff man aboard tonight, and Kipnis has done it 3 times. And only in the first has he been able to come around and score, and he scored on a wild pitch.
And a ball loose behind the plate. He was thinking about a bunt, but he pulls it back and takes ball 1 to even the count.
You can see where McGee was trying to stay inside. He doesn't want to give him anything out over the plate where he can slap it to right field in that hole and go first to third. He may force him to try and use those hands and try to pull the ball.
Popped him up right field near the line. And what a catch, and a throwback to first for a double play.
Wow. I think Kipnis can't believe that he caught the ball, but there's no way you can get doubled up there.
Souza came running in, and I'm not sure if he was in fair or foul territory when he ultimately made the catch. I think he was just inside the line, maybe.
A foul territory. Oh, he signaled fair.
Yeah.
There you have it. Fair ball, and he catches, makes a beautiful catch, by the way. It wasn't fair territory. He slides, he holds on, and throws back behind him for just a beautiful double play.
And so now 2 down for Michael Brantley, who is 1 for 3 on the night. Outside ball 1. And it's out of play to the left. Two balls and 2 strikes. And he strikes out Brantley to end the inning. We head to the 9th. Tampa 3, Cleveland 1. Runs have been at a premium without a doubt. And the Indians have had just a tough stretch here. 3 runs or less in 10 out of 15 games this month. Defense has played well. 2 solo homers for Tampa and a sac fly accounting for their last run. And Scott Atchison on the pitch here in the 9th now for Cleveland.
4th Indians pitcher tonight. Manship went an inning. Had a couple of strikeouts, did not allow a hit, had 1 walk. And Atch trying to come on and keep it a 3-1 game. See if the Indians can do anything in the 9th.
Out of play. Oh, better late than never. Carlos Baerga is in the house.
He knows. Look, Carlito.
There's a fly ball by Steven Souza Jr. and strike up the band.
Wow.
4-1 Tampa.
I'll tell you what, that one, did that hit the clock up there? That might have knocked that clock out of commission out in left field. I'm going to tell you, that thing was a bomb. Watch this. Out over the plate, and it just kept going. He knew he hit it. He put his head down. The clock strikes. It sure did. Hit the clock and bounced up at 9:56.
Asdrubal Cabrera homered back in the second, so the Rays have used the long ball. 3 solo homers here tonight. That's out inside. Back out of play. And a pop to left. Brantley makes the grab, 1 away. Pat O'Brien Chevrolet play of the game is Asdrubal Cabrera back in the second inning. His first at bat against the Tribe here, and he went deep. His 4th home run of the year. He also has a single in the game.
Well, 3 solo shots for Tampa tonight. The long ball, which you don't think that, they're a team that hits them. They're 9th in the league coming in with 61. They now have 64.
Michael Bourne is in center field to make the catch, 2 down. Well, they'll bring up the catcher, RENE RIVERA. He has 2 hits on the night. And all of a sudden you look up there and this Tampa club has banged out 11 hits in the ball game. Ground ball towards second, and Kipnis going to throw him out. Last chance for the Indians coming up. They trail at 4-1. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Eddie Murray with the walk-off game winner and the Indians' first World Series win since 1948 on October 24th, 1995.
How about that one? Had some big heavy jackets on, a little cool one, wasn't it, in October?
Brad Boxberger on for Tampa. He's 16 out of 18 in save situations. He's what you would call their primary closer. They have 5 relievers with multiple saves. Boxberger leads the way with 16. Jepson has 5. McGee has 3. Geltz has 2. And Andriese has 2. Boxberger will be facing Santana, Rayburn, and Moss here in the ninth. That's popped foul, and that will get out of play just as Dribble Cabrera got to the tarp. Well, obviously there's a lot less at stake. It's not October. But this game, the way it's played out, reminds me a lot of that playoff game here in Cleveland between the Indians and the Rays. That's the night Tampa just came in and shut them down. The Indians, on that night, they didn't score at all. Tampa scored 4. The Indians didn't score any on that night. But it's been a similar kind of ball game where they got a good start, and their bullpen has been flawless, just as they were on that night.
Cards 5 1/3 innings. The Indians have had 7 hits.
You forget that's only 2 years ago. Popped up foul. No, maybe that's fair. DeJesus down into foul ground, makes the catch. 1 away. And that'll bring up Ryan Rayburn, who struck out his only time up. Indians' best chance in this game, other than the way they started it, when Kipnis doubled and Lindor had the bunt single and they had 2 on, nobody out, wild pitch, got a run home, wild pitch got the other runner to third, and then line out, strikeout. They didn't score again. But in that 6th inning, Lindor led off with a single, Brantley lined a single, 2 on, nobody out, and then punch out, punch out, punch out.
Yeah, they went after the first one. They went to the bullpen, and it's been lights out ever since. The Indians have 1 hit off of their bullpen.
Down low, 2 balls and a strike. Rayburn checks, it's low, and 2-1 the count. 3-1 the count, beg your pardon. Brandon Moss waits on deck. And it's inside, ball 4. Tribazo base runner with 1 out. They need 1 more to get the tying run to the plate. Brandon Moss is 0 for 2 with a walk. Hitless in his last 11 at-bats. Hits one high in the air, center field. Kiermaier back onto the track, leaps up, and makes the catch. Tell you what, that's a heck of a throw. He made that throw from the warning track all the way to first base
Boy,
on
did
one
he
quick
ever.
bounce and almost doubled up Rayburn to end the game. My goodness. So first of all, it's a heck of a play as he leaps in the air to make the catch just in front of the wall. But now
Can
watch
you
this.
believe that?
One little crow hop and all the way back to first. And Rayburn is safe. But now there are two down. And Giovanni Urshela will be the batter. Urshela, a tough night, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And he's grounded into a double play. The 1-1. Interesting, Andre talked earlier about how the Tampa hadn't shown many shifts. Here's Giovanni Urshela, who's been in the big leagues about a week, and
No
they've got
kidding.
3 on the left side against him.
How about that? Outfield very deep as well.
2-2. Good fastball away. There's the 2-2 pitch. And a foul right back. Foul back again. Brad Boxberger with a runner at first, 2 down in the ninth. Urshela trying to keep it alive for the Tribe. And bounces it foul. Same two teams tomorrow night, 7 o'clock right here on Sports Time Ohio. Up and in. Full count. Rayburn down to second on the play. So Urshela putting up a quality at bat here. He was down on the count early. We'll see if he can extend it and keep the game alive. Low, ball 4. Giovanni Urshela draws a 2-out walk. And now the tying run will come to the plate in the form of Michael Bourne. Two on, 2 out. Bourne 0 for 3. Takes a strike. Way out in front of it. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Boxberger's 2-strike pitch. Strike 3 called. Tampa wins it by a final score of 4-1 as they go to 39-30 on the year. The Indians drop the opener to the series to fall back to 31-35. No Indians home runs hit in the game. Home Run Challenge continues through Father's Day. Make your pledge. Go online to homerunchallenge.org. Home runs were the story of the game for Tampa. 3 solo homers. One on the first by Joey Butler. Indians have given up 15 first-inning home runs. That's the most home runs they've allowed in any inning. And Philly and Toronto tied with the Indians for the most home runs allowed in the first inning this season. The other story of the game was what happens from the 7th inning on. And at home this year, the Indians have now been outscored 60-26 from the 7th inning on.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
And the Tribe is now 13-20, 7 games under 500 here at Progressive Field. So that's going to do it. Stay tuned for Indians Live. It's presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care coming up next.